Good morning, everyone. I'm going to try this again, second time. So I'm here to discuss about episiotomies, why you don't do them, and when you would, and what you do instead of cutting an episiotomy. You know, do you always have to cut an episiotomy? Is that the way to go? Let's think about it. So, first off, in order to understand whether or not you should cut an episiotomy, or let's look at what we're talking about. Okay, this is a crooked woman. This really should have been over here. But pretend I'm actually anatomically correct. Actually, this is probably something like me, very soft muscle tissues. Anywho, I was trying to emulate what the muscles around the vagina look like. Obviously, this is the vaginal opening. Down here, which should be here, is the tailbone. So these are the sphincter muscles that wrap around the clitoris, wrap around the vagina, and wrap around the anal sphincter, the anus. And it's a funny, crazy eight. Chunk, chunk, chunk. And these guys work lovely together. I'm trying to straighten it up. But, all right. So this is a vagina. I've got a screen to share as well. I actually have these photos, which is what I was trying to share yesterday. So here we go. Hopefully you can see me as well. So I'm trying to, this is the top part of your sphincter muscle. This is the vaginal opening. The clitoris, top of the sphincter muscle that wraps around the vagina and then continues down further and wraps around the anus before it comes right back up, wraps around the vagina and the clitoris again. So that's the kind of infinity or crazy eight. Or, yeah, I like infinity. Here you see muscles, muscles, more muscles, more muscles. Look at this. This is a hammock, a sling of muscles. You know, you got to actually hold the vagina up. That's what this whole thing is. If you didn't have a uterus supporting your vagina, holding it up. Yeah, it's very interesting when you actually study what a hysterectomy is and what happens to you. I had to look at this option. So this particular sheath of muscles or sling of muscles hold your vagina and your urethra up and in position. These are round ligaments. They must stretch this whole area here, as in here. Let's pause the share. Can you see me? So as in here, these are the round ligaments down here. So you're almost seeing yourself. I guess you can consider you're seeing your body on a kind of angle. So you've got that sphincter muscle wrapping around. You've got the round ligaments that are supporting everything in this way. And you've got that sheath coming up here. I've used different colors. Next time I'll use the same colors. And that's what's holding your vagina, your cervix, and your urethra, and thus your bladder in position. Now, all these muscles here are built, they were designed by God to do this. And gradually, I'm doing this as a baby. It's the same thing you'll see as a baby comes down. It comes down. And you know what happens first? That bit opens up. You see this whole thing start to spread open and stretch as the baby's head is coming forward. And that, people, is why, I don't know if you said it yourself or somebody recently said it, about letting the baby come, or the friendly episiotomy. What a joke. So why do they need an, and they're concerned because the mother's standing upright. Again, I'll send you some other posters that will show that, no, this is actually a lie. By standing upright, actually, why not? Not really the one I want. I want to find the one. That's the one I want. Okay, I'm going to go back. Okay, so I want to show you the other one that I just opened up. I'm sure I did. Well, I did. Okay, anyway, I'll come back to this for now. So all of these muscles here, as I was showing you on this, will stretch and pull out. Will pull out. And we talk about the baby coming and going, pushing and coming back, pushing and then coming back. And why is he doing this? To gently and slowly stretch the vagina and the perineum. They will gradually stretch, release, stretch, release, stretch. Each time a little bit more. Maybe not, maybe sometimes less, but it's a come, go, meh, go back, come, go. And the purpose of this is to gently, carefully, little by little, allowing the baby to stretch the muscles, the tissues, the vagina itself, to be able to continue to stretch and allow a baby to pass through with minimal damage. Now, what I see in India, well, a couple of things. I was just talking to somebody else today. So when you hear somebody saying something to you that's obviously stupid, a friendly episiotomy? So what's the difference between an episiotomy and a tear? So here you have it. Oh, let's do another screen. A new share, should have been a new share. So I keep promising to get better at this. Right now I'm a little better. Anyway, friendly episiotomy. Why is this a bunch of lies? New share. This is another look of the same thing. So here you can look at these round muscles and ligaments. Look at them. You can take one look at them and know they are meant to, they look like a baby's head, don't they? They look like a baby coming in. It looks like it was built. It looks designed, purpose built to facilitate the birth of a baby's head, doesn't it? Look at the shape of these muscles. So in addition to what we saw on the other one, this particular diagram has shows you different things, such as these are glands. These are glands that come up to here. They're your pleasure glands. They create secretions to help lubricate the vagina, to allow this vagina. Look at that. Look at these muscles. Look at them. They are designed to stretch. Now, let's say somebody gets tired of watching you stretch. Not only that, the technique here in India is they like to manually push on the top of your uterus and assist the baby at the same time. So all along, you have a problem with people assisting and making things faster. It's for them, not for you. So if I cut an episiotomy, look at what's happening here. I will be cutting it. Well, you said the person mentioned different types of episiotomies. Now, the favorite method of episiotomy is straight down, just straight down. Now, there are concerns, because it is true, if you go straight down, however far you cut it, it's going to still want to tear. It's still going to want to tear. Just does, just a little beyond where you cut it. We call that the apex. So that's one system. It's the best cut, meaning it's the easiest to tolerate. It's the least painful for healing. Now, because they're concerned and they over-exaggerate everything that is real. So, as I just explained, cutting it straight down, medium cut, medium cut, cutting down the middle. They're concerned that, as I said, it will continue to tear. So they've got this belief it'll continue to tear straight through the anus. It doesn't. It's very rare. If you're mishandling the birth, such as pushing on the fundus on the mother's uterus, then yes, you will cause damage to mother, tissues, and baby. All of these people will be damaged. The statistics on mental brain damage from these types of natural births, they're not natural. Mine are natural. Those are not. So what they prefer to do here is cut a medial lateral. So coming across here, see that? They like to cut it this way, so it's less likely to tear down through the anus. It'll still continue to tear, but it'll tear this way instead of straight down. The trouble about this one, or sometimes they do the same one and then do a dog leg, a right angle. They do that so you won't continue to tear. I'd rather let you tear. So, a couple of things. If I use scissors and cut you in any which direction, there's no way for me to do it but to cut your muscle. With a pair of scissors, they're flat, they're straight, they're steel. They're not considering what's in their way. Let's cut, we only need to cut this much. They don't think like that. We need to, scissors will just cut. So they will not just cut through this. See this? This is the layer of flesh. This is skin. So this skin normally is covering right across, right? So they're not just, whichever direction they are cutting in, they must cut muscle. They can't, of every episiotomy involves muscle damage. Number one, if you allow the woman to tear, a friendly tear, more than likely, the body will try to only tear the skin. It won't involve, it will avoid the muscle. The muscle is stronger. So it will tend to tear the soft tissue rather than the hard tissue. Now, after that, and this is true, I got to give it to them, man, when you tear normally, because your body is naturally avoiding the hard bits, the places that it doesn't want to tear, like the muscles and ligaments, it wants to hold on to it. but it might make a mess of the outside skin. And only to look at, right? And it can look like, what happened? Don't worry, don't worry. Look at your baby. We'll take care of this. We got this. With an episiotomy, you have a secondary degree tear from the straight up. You have torn the muscle. You have cut the muscle. Another thing to understand is if anybody works with clay, which is kind of how I got involved and inspired to do arts and crafts, was to teach this particular bit about physiology. With clay, if you take clay and you have one smooth surface and you have another smooth surface and you try to stick them together, they don't stick so well. So let's say you do the right part of the process, which is you still have these beautiful smooth coils of clay. And can you see me? I'll put this back on. So you have one nice coil and another nice coil. And okay, I'll put paint on it. I'll put water on it. I'll make this bit slippery and sticky. I'll put water on this side and make it slippery and sticky. And then I'm going to push these two together and I'm going to wiggle them a bit and let them dry. And as they dry, they pull apart. They pull apart. Now take those same two coils of clay. In addition to wetting it, we call it scoring. Mark your clay. You put little cuts in the clay, little cuts in the clay. Now you put those two pieces together. You put water, put them together. Same process. Let them dry. It's the difference between this or this. This keeps the integrity. Now, once I had a woman tear right along an old episiotomy line, and it was amazing. I laughed. It was just a straight down cut and super easy to stitch, super easy. But usually when you get a tear, it can be freaky to see, but it isn't. And it's actually easy to push it back together. And either we often use, if it comes together very nicely, and recently, I'll see if I can get permission to show these pictures. It's something that I very, very commonly see here. You will see a long tear. It doesn't look scary. It does not look scary, in my opinion. Tears can look, this is a tear. This was a tear. Lovely and clean. Sits together. It only, when she's moving about and living, her tear comes together. Now, when the midwife came to look and make sure everything was okay, then she said, oh, there it is. Okay, put it back. Leave it alone. Seaweed, turmeric, stings though. I like witch hazel. It just takes away the swelling. It doesn't do anything for healing, but it feels good. I freeze them. We can talk about that later. But so I'm trying to explain the difference between an episiotomy. There's no such thing as a friendly one because it will cut your muscle. And then your muscle will have lost its usual integrity. It's not the end of the world, you can still come back to normal. Oh, no, sorry. Another news flash for everyone who ever gets pregnant. Your vagina will never be the same. And each baby, that other vagina is gone. Say goodbye. This flower of yours, this doorway, this gate is getting better with age. Man, there's beauty in the bud. There's beauty in the seedling. There's beauty in the full-blown blossom. And there's beauty when it falls to the ground. Or before that even, when the petals are falling like this. like this. Come on, tell me there's beauty at this stage, right? There's still beauty. As always, I get off the point. Integrity, skin integrity. No, I go for the tears. As I say, okay, so I've never cut an episiotomy in 1,500 births. It's 1,500. But only one birth did I I knew I should have cut an episiotomy. So I'm watching this and okay, so here's the deal. I'm still here. So this woman, and I got to know her because the one I'm talking about is her first birth, but she had 3 other babies after this. And other than this thing, she gave this one up, but she always does a mind game with herself and stops at certain points in her pregnancy and labor. And it takes me a moment to, oh, right, that you're this one. Yeah, right. I remember. Okay. Are we going to screw around with this? Or are we going to just move on? Oh, yeah, right. Okay, let's go. And we have a baby. But this time she was, oh my God, it was just this incredible crowning stage. And so what do? Massage. I'll massage. Some women like it. Some women hate it. They don't like it. They push my hand away. I don't do it. But if I can, I will massage. I'll start, if they're really tight on the inside, I'll say, you need to let go here. Put your baby here. I'll put pressure here. Instead of cutting here, I'll put pressure. Put your baby here. Sometimes when I'm doing it, you'll find a baby way up here. You can feel the woman's pushing high, not low. So I might put my finger in and go, here, here. And I'm pushing. Put your baby here. Put your baby here. You know? This is where his head is gonna fill up this whole valley. Let him come. Let him come. So I'm telling you like this. Baby gets closer and closer. Baby's crowning. Now he's not going back like before I was telling you. Now he's here and he's making his way out. So as this happens, this whole big bulges. Baby's lifting his head up to get under the pubic bone and come out. So he's doing this. Like this. And slowly stretching. Now this baby gets to this. And it's like this, yeah? Does that look like crowning or what? Maybe not a baby's head. I'll work on that. But that looks like crowning right there. And the ring of fire. So we're massaging, we're adding hot compresses. I use warm cloths with chamomile tea and lavender. Important, don't leave the chamomile out. So this is happening. And it just kept stretching and going. So you know the woman's going to tear when some part here turns white. You will get a white spot. So I could see it coming here. And I'm massaging like anything. And I'm like watching this thing go whiter and whiter. And again, why is it going white? Because the blood cells are separating. The red sea of blood cells are being separated. So you have a white sea going through with no blood cells. It's preparing to tear. Get that, people? So right now, your perineum knows what's going on. It knows it's stretching as much as it could go, but it's not stretching enough. And it goes, hey, boys. I know, sorry, don't worry about my gender shit. Hey, boys, because you know they want to be boys here. She's going to blow. She's going to blow. All right, turn off the blood supplies. Shut down the valves. So this starts to go white because the body knows what's going on. She's going to blow. So so she doesn't blow, shooting out blood. Let's end the blood vessels now. Let's stop them. Let's cordon them off and get the skin ready to tear with less trauma, less blood loss. And we will go over the muscle, not through it. So I'm seeing this and I'm like, oh God. And I was looking at the woman who was holding the light, who was a nurse. And I was saying, oh, she's going to tear shit. I could see it was going to be a yucky one. And so sure enough, she had the baby, she tore. And then I went to examine and see how bad the tear was. And I said, oh, it was a 3rd-degree tear. So it's a 3rd-degree tear. Don, find what is a 3rd-degree tear? Here's your anus. Here's your vagina. So normally you get a tear coming through to here, and it's just on the surface. This one went like this, and it tore into her anus. So when you get into the anal sphincter, the anal muscle, this is a 3rd-degree tear. I consider this super important, and I have not personally sutured a 3rd-degree tear. In this case, this is the one and only 3rd-degree, I think. I'm pretty sure this is the only 3rd-degree tear I've seen. And I transferred her for suturing. So when I announced to her, oh yeah, this is a 3rd-degree, you tore through your rectum, you tore through the anus. She turned to her friend and said, didn't I tell you? I told you so. I knew would tear right to my anus. This woman talks herself through anything. And she knew it. As soon as I called her on it, well, there you go. Well done. You got your 3rd-degree, just like you predicted. Just like you were setting yourself up for, man. And she acknowledged, oh my God, you're right. You did everything. Your mind stopped you here. Your mind stopped you there. All we had to do is talk about it. You let go of your thought. Then you moved to the next stage. Too bad you didn't tell me you thought you were going to tear to Uranus. Are you telling me to shut up? Anyway, so that's my short message, or special message on episiotomies. Why I do not recommend them, why I prefer that you would tear. Again, to recap, if you cut an episiotomy, you are forced to cut the muscle. You can't do any cut without getting the muscle. If you tear, you avoid the muscle. If you do an episiotomy, it's really easy to stitch. Holy cow. And that's the reason why they invented it. It's way easier to stitch. Natural tearing looks horrible, but you actually put it together very easily. And it's the easiest, it's the nicest for the women. It's better for the women if you suture it all. The only time I would cut an episiotomy is if I could see that a tear was coming and I didn't like the look of the tear. Otherwise, I will work harder on that area that's going white. As I did, I use castor oil. I use an oil that's part of the supply list. I'll use oil and hot compresses, warm compresses. They can take it pretty hot, but pay attention to the baby's head. He's not the mama's skin, different. But that's what I do. So episiotomy, only. Yeah. Hope that helps you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop me a message or anything, and I'm happy to respond. Okay, thank you. Ta-ta.